So good evening, friends. All the behalf of Dynamic Foundry Group, I am Sandeep Kulkarni. Welcome you all to the today's webinar on quality management system, that is QMS. Today we have a very known speaker, Mr. Bhushan Bhatt from Atoline, uh, Baroda, and I am very happy to have him today. Uh, One of the reason behind it, because when in Dynamic Foundry Group, when we started our first webinar in, I think, 2018 or 2017, in fact, I think Bhushan, you have been recollecting those memories. When we started our first webinar in 2017, and we decided that we'll continue that webinar section, but somehow we are not able to continue at that time. And Bhushan was the inspiration behind that webinar. He has hosted it, and he has taken a lot of efforts to make it successful. But after that, next couple of years, we are not able to do any webinars. But during this lockdown period, we have started again this webinar. And today, on the auspicious day of Guru Purnima, I think Bhushan is conducting this webinar for us. Is we are very lucky for that, actually. Thank you, Bhushan, for supporting us a long way, and hope you will be, all participants will enjoy this webinar. Thank you very much. And I am handing over the platform to Bhushan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandeep ji. Yes, of course, I recollect those days when we were thinking of starting webinar way before pandemic, as most of us started and talking about webinar during the pandemic by force. But thankful to you and your initiative for this complete foundry fertility. And you've been the one of the inspirational person I would have met in this foundry domain, who is inspiring to share the knowledge and share the learning experience, which is very, very important, and that is required in totality for a foundry domain, not for individually Sandeep ji or me or XYZ. But this is very, very good initiative through Dynamic Foundry Group, who has been giving platform to share the knowledge, and everybody should learn from each other on this auspicious days, as rightly Mr. Sandeep said. Guru Purnima, I am very thankful to Sandeep ji and Mr. Harishankar as well, who has been part of this promotion and organization, and really thankful to all of you. And knowingly and unknowingly, we have many gurus in foundries to whom I have learned personally in my experience of my professional journey in last 10 years. So I really thankful and pray to all these gurus in the foundry and outside foundry domain as well on this auspicious days. And we continue our journey of learning throughout our life. So let's take it a little bit dive inside, and I would like to take you through the journey of quality management system. And in general, what we are going to discuss about is how do we manage our quality data, not specifically to any one platform or any one software, or how it could be done. The more idea is what you are doing today and where you could lead to in the future. Now, that is a perspective that is behind this webinar, to compare where we are today and what is the next level we could go from here. That would be something I would like to highlight in this. And I would be very happy to answer all your queries and questions whenever you have, or in between. If it is a link, we could also in between, you can break me, or we could plan this question at the end of the session. I could also jump back to any slides whenever you you have the question or any area. I would also will be happy to answer all those questions. I will also take you through the quality management system as such inside, so you will understand how quality management system works. Because if you are not working with any quality management system, you may have not a first insight of that. So I will also try to give you a little bit insight how this quality management system works along with that. So in this, as I said, for the presentation, let's just try to understand about QMS, why this word is important in today's scenario, where we have already enough quality standards and policy and certification and so on and so forth. So there are many, I would say, already process done, already systemization is already done over the past many decades, not just beginning. But now the era is there where we are taking this to the next level. where we are talking about computed quality, which is also called as a CAQ. So this CAQ requires some sort of quality management system in order to implement CAQ in your foundry or even outside foundry. So the quality management system is a term that refers to a system in charge of documenting all processes, responsibilities, and procedures for achieving quality objectives and policies. Again, so everybody aware about quality policies. You have your own quality policy statement. You are maybe certified with ISO, QS, AIAG, IATF, and so on and so forth. There are many quality certificates and procedures. So how to connect these two together into one platform? Probably that is where the QMS come inside. So you have processes. Yes, foundry are all the processes. Sand process, molding, melting, fettling, machining. These are all processes. And in this processes, of course, there are responsibilities. Of course, there are procedures. So this all things needs to be connected, not just limited to see yourself into one department. मेरा तो डिपार्टमेंट सिर्फ सैंड मोल्डिंग का है, मेरे को क्या करना है क्वालिटी में क्या होता है, मेरा डिपार्टमेंट तो मोल्डिंग का है, मुझे लेना देना नहीं है कि कल को मशीनिंग वाला बोले उसमें सैंड इंक्लूजन आया. Now that is where first of all we need to come out, because now we are talking about enterprise level. इंडिविजुअली एक डिपार्टमेंट पे सोच के अगर हम बात करेंगे तो उसका बेनिफिट एंटरप्राइज को नहीं है. तो ये पूरा जो वैल्यू चेन है, आप जो भी लोकेशन पे, आप जो भी डिपार्टमेंट में काम करते हैं, यू आर पार्ट ऑफ दैट वैल्यू चेन. So first of all, we need to come out of that. So there is a process in your location, there is a responsibility lies with you, and there is a procedures to do as well. So we all are part of the system. A QMS allows companies to direct and coordinate their operations to meet both regulatory and customer requirement while also improving its efficiency and effectiveness on regular basis. To be frank, for me, the latter part, for improvising its or efficiency and effectiveness, has a more relevance than what customer requirement is, because customer is at the end paying you for your part, right? But that part and its value and its cost has more impact on your organization. So that's why I would not like to driven away by see this as any way related to the just customer point of view. That is most important aspect I would see in this case. Now, where is the role of this QMS at 3 levels that I would like to going to highlight today is development, production, and post-production. These are the 3 levels where probably you are somewhere part of that. So development, basically where you start with documenting management, where your customer gives you some document based on which you will prepare some documents in-house. Then you start working on preparing PPAP, APQP, process flow diagram, FMEA, control plan, gauge and tool, whether you have the calibration done, expiry, and so on and so forth. So these are all the things you are already doing as of now in your company. So I'm not going you to explain something extraordinary that you are probably not doing. Probably that's not the case with most of you. The question is how you are doing it and how better it can be done using some system or without doing a system. That's the only area we are probably going into that. The next is a production. So when it comes to the production, you have your inspection plan, you have incoming and outgoing inspection. Well, incoming is mainly for your suppliers, and outgoing is mainly where you are delivering as a finished good to the customer. So these are also areas where you specified how you are going to manage your incoming and outgoing inspection. SPC is what we call as a statistic process control. That is mainly for your process data monitoring, where you have to monitor certain data and process to ensure that the end result of your product is not getting compromised. So we will see what are the areas. I will come to that later on in the more details. Gauge and tool, of course, it's a part of 2 areas. So during development, you also gauge and development requirements. During production, you also gauge and tool requirements. NCM is mainly non-conformance management, both internal and supplier in the production area. But of course, that goes further into post-production area as well when you have complaints from the customer end. And same way for your reports analysis, what you need for, let's say, typically CPCPK, Six Sigma, various charts, graph, Pareto, bar, whisker, all these things probably what you're doing somewhere by copy paste, collecting from X person, Y person, then combining into one, and then something comes out. Now here we are trying to mainly streamline it, that minimizing those copy paste and moving of Excel files and data within your companies. That would probably learn through this area today. Of course, possible to do some ERP interface with whatever ERP you are using. Maybe MSA, that is also part of production somewhere. And then in post-production, what you need, or basically what you're handling, is NCM, that is again non-conformance management, but from the customer point of view. So what happens if the customer complaints come, what actions you will take, what are the timelines and responsible person, and even links up to FMEA and your APQP and other areas. So whatever you have done, even that links we could have on the single platform, that you could also probably learn how it can be connected. And then of course there are more reports analysis required from post-production point of view, that is 8D, kappa, monthly, quarterly report, and many more possibilities, even customized report possible. And again, in the ERP interface required post-production as well, maybe even some customer driven point of view, or your complaints interface with ERP and so on and so forth. So other many possibilities are there. I'm just touching upon few points I am saying of the very larger possibilities of QMS. So, but I'm trying to possibly highlight those area which you are daily in and out probably doing and working on that area. So my idea is to work on that you can link itself. Now, what you do is a global area. Let's say typically in foundry area, you have a finished quality checks, which we call as also outgoing inspection. So where you are doing various inspection of finished goods, okay, that is also quality, because that area has prominently requirement from the customer, and you have to achieve some quality in that area as a finished good. Then at one level down, you come to the machining. In machining, you have certain area of quality as well. So this is also link up with all the quality data linked in the machining area. Okay, so there are also many given specification on what needs to be achieved as a machining level. Then one more level down, you go to the fettling, melting, molding, core making, and so on and so forth. So what you see is that it's not just one layer. You can say that, okay, this is a global level you are talking about, but even if you are at the core level, even if you are mold level, there is a contribution to your work, your quality, your efforts, your skill, ultimately to the finished goods. So this, all the aspects are linked with each other. And of course, tool. Now, maybe a question in the mind appears that why we need QMS. Somebody can say, okay, we have already CAD, CAM, CA system, we have ERP system, we have even, let's say, even advanced PLM sort. But what you see is, and I will also elaborate later on one or two slides, where it comes to specifically quality data, and quality data means for every order, for every part, wherever the quality data lies, where are the records of this quality, and how you are benefiting yourself as an organization level, benefiting from monitoring this quality data. Okay, so this aspects is very important, because there is not quality data really let's say stored or available order wise or part wise, neither of this system, or nor in design, nor in production, nor in enterprise level. So that's where the QMS is actually binding all this three level from the quality point of view. Of course, that does not mean that PLM is not important, that does not mean that ERP is not important, right? But the question is that quality, how to combine this different level, that's where QMS plays a role. Probably you could further understand here where quality rise. So probably I just go one more slide back rather here. Okay, so what I wanted to highlight here is at enterprise level, there are different levels where quality data requires in some or other way link and sync. Okay, so that starts from supplier end and customer end. Of course, there are some quality data, because whenever you purchase something for supplier, that there is an entry into your ERP system, of course, about GRN, your day in, day out challan, the inventories, and so on and so forth. But what happens to the quality? When your supplier delivers you some goods, what was the quality of that? Because that quality has impact on your finished goods. So you cannot say that, yeah, we have received the good, but quality, yes, somewhere it's in on paper. That needs to be linked with your production later on, whenever that material is going to use. For example, scrap. So you do spectrometer of scrap probably in every foundry, but that report has a linkage to your finished good when this scrap is going to consume. So that is a link between that as well. Okay, the same way from the customer point of view. Now, customer, when you give out material to the customer, of course, there is a quality aspects, but even when you start developing parts, there you have also certain parameters to be taken and control and documentation and so on and so forth. So that is what is a link where customer expects you to deliver quality as well, and he expects you to use the quality data they've given as well. So this is a two-way communication in other way. Now, whatever here in this diagram, wherever you can see the orange bar, that is the area where quality plays a role. So whether it's a PLM level, ERP level, MES, automation controls, assembly, manufacturing, or laboratory level, that's where you can see quality plays a role. And that's how what I was explaining in the first slide, where QMS is combining across all these levels of development, production, post-production, enterprise level, or even PLM level. That's where it's binding them together from the quality point of view. Okay, leaving them independent island solution will not be able to merge them, will not be able to combine them. Now, just a reminder, probably not required here, but I do try to give this reminder. Okay, quality is what? Probably what we generally in regular talk, we very easy to say that, like quality customer needs it, auditor asks for it. Needs to maintain the files and record, costly affair to maintain quality, difficult to record. Now, this is not quality definition, or this is what you should come out of your own bias, I would say. Okay, so what is quality in this case? So basically, quality is what you need it to deliver quality castings. You need it to reduce the rejections. You need it to improvise your processes. You need it to reduce your cost, and you need it to develop new parts, and more you need, and more you need. So first of all, come out of this bias, customer needs it, auditor needs it, data and our management needs it. No, wherever you, if I am the person who is doing in the molding or let's say core making, then first of all, that quality data is most relevant to myself. Forget about my management, my supervisor, XYZ. And that myth has to be broken down. Very, very, very important this among whole this presentation. Now, that's the question you should ask to yourself as an organization level. Where is quality data, or where are my quality data across enterprise level? Probably you could ask this question first of all. Mostly we ask this question to ERP. Okay, that where are my quality data? And ERP would say, I'm not responsible. I'm maintaining your admin. You can give me sales, purchase. I can give you everything I have. Okay. Also invoice, delivery, challans, costing part, everything I can give you. Don't ask me about quality. Probably that's the case in many foundries. So just worry and just think about that area first. Now, if that is not the case, who should I ask next about my quality? So then I ask the machines. Okay, you are doing something with my investment and with my casting parts. So do you have my quality data? Machine will say, I am not responsible, but I can. Why I'm saying this? Every investor right now, whosoever is investing in foundry, even if they are buying, I don't know, furnace, molding lines, XYZ, even gauging tools. Okay, so everywhere they ask the question to the supplier: is it compatible with cloud data? Do you give me automatic data collection? Will you be able to do export this data automatically, so on and so forth, which is very, very important, and these are valid questions. I'm not denying it, but the question is, after investing this, after asking these questions, how many of them are really using this? Because now you have purchased, invested with solution which can give you data, but are you using them? That's very important question asked to enterprise level internally. Now, if that is not the case in your particular case, that sorry, I don't have this data, then probably what you will go, the next is you can go to the shop floor. So shop floor, you can ask this question and probably you will find Excel, logbooks, log sheet, and tons of pages. Fine. Okay, you find it somewhere. That's good. Now the next question is, can I use it for preventive quality control? If that is a question after evolving these discussions, probably the answer is no. Now, what is preventive quality control? here, the preventive quality control means we have two ways of doing our own root cause analysis and so on and so forth. In every foundry, they do root cause analysis. They have wonderful Excel files and wonderful graphs and everything. So there is no, I have probably not seen any foundry who can say, I don't know anything why there is root cause. They know at least two reasons. They mention two reasons. So that's good. Now the question is, we have two ways to do it. One is we do post-mortem. Whenever there is a casting rejection, we do post-mortem. Everybody will sit in the room. We discuss about that. What is right? What is wrong? Why there was rejection of 20%, 15%, and then group of the team from core, molding, machining, everybody is experts and supervisor and so on and so forth, management would say, okay, fine. We find out the reason there was a 15% rejection, and the reason was our moldings and may not have enough GCS, or humidity was more, or compatibility was not, or XYZ, or our tapping temperature was in the not right. XYZ could be reason, I'm saying. Now they left the room, and the same discussion will take place after 2 months, after 1 month, after 6 months. So that means whatever we are discussing as a post-mortem, there is no relevance, because next time the same reason can occur, same rejection could occur, you could lose same money. So what is the learning curve from that? Probably nothing. If that is the case in your organization, then you should think about why we are doing this analysis if that is not leading me to next time prevent it. And that is where what I was asking about these machines and everything, that whatever machines available, whatever systems available, try to do something preventive. At that moment, when your system gives you alarm, alert, or visibly or not visibly, or even by looking at some papers, and before you take it to the next level, before you using to the next operation, if that quality parameters are not meeting your requirement, that sand should not be released for core making, that sand should not be released for mold, that mold, if it is not correct, should not be released to the melting or pouring, and if that pouring is something is wrong, that should not go for petling and so on and so forth. Just try to link up these steps and these little dots. Okay, that itself is a journey. So the idea again here is think about preventive quality control. That is what I want to highlight here. Now, there are two ways which are in use, or which could be in use. One is a non-integrated approach, which mostly traditional way of doing it. And one is a futuristic where you could have an integrated approach, which we also call as a quality management system. So here what I would like to highlight and emphasize is only on those areas where you could compare what you are doing right now and where you could or where you should move to the future. Does not mean tomorrow. Does not mean tomorrow. Please highlight this. Does not mean tomorrow. But you should have a path, you should have a journey, and you should have a interim goals. That is where it is important. So this approach you should keep in mind and think what is the first level you could achieve, what is the second level you could achieve, what is the third level you could achieve. That approach you should think about. That's the brainstorming process. On the one side, you have an independent Excel file to manage your quality data, APQP, FMEA, PPAP, non-conformance management tool, quality report, CMM report, SOP, so on and so forth. You are doing all of these things. Probably 90% of at least you are doing all of these things. Okay. And the alternative way could be to work with an integrated approach. Now, what it means by integrated approach, I am going to show you exactly, even in the system, not just theoretically in slides. I'm going to show you practically as well. Okay, today. So just first of all, let's understand the concept. So it will be easy to understand when I go to the system and explain you in the system. So integrated platform means your APQP, or let's say when you want to make ultimately PPAP, that PPAP has a link with APQP, that PPAP has a link with your FMEA, your non-conformance somewhere later on, your tools, your process flow chart, your control plan, your inspection plan, and so on and so forth in future. All these things needs to be integrated. Maybe at the planning or product development stage, it's up to PPAP, but in future, it could go to the next level of inspection plan, SPC, and so on and so forth. So that's two level. So one, you are independently maintaining Excel file. Now somebody change it and you want to open the file, please close the files, I have to work on it. Fine, that could happen. Somebody change the data and that data is not going to the shop floor. Now, if you change something in your FMEA, if you change something in your process control, You have already changed it for the customer because you know I have to show this data to customer. Okay, that's good. But the real user of this document and this process is not your customer. Okay, it's just a depository where you have to deposit the all documents. But the real user of this beneficiary, I would say, of this whole system and whole this time and efforts you are putting is the shop floor user. And mostly that happens that something change in Excel but does not go to the shop floor. Shop floor user will still doing the same way. It's molding and melting and machining, whatever process he was doing, because he is not linked what you have changed. So that's where these two systems are differently. Again, in Excel file, you have to copy all these things all the time. Then only you will be able to see the new part, again copy the different templates for customer to customer or as per ISO or QS. Every time you have to maintain and change Excel files, version and so on. I will show you what alternative way it could be done. Unable to link your quality data with your order, customer and part process. Now, this is an era where everybody is talking about traceability. And the traceability is not just limited to up to your foundry. It could even go beyond in future. So be prepared for that. But at least up to foundry level, you should have a traceability. And traceability means it goes from your finished good to your process data, to your batch data of that particular sand. It goes up to that level. Every level down you can imagine of that. So that linkage is very, very important, and later on push it to the ERP as well. So this link up will possible only when you have somewhere data to push it to somewhere else, or even if you don't want to push it and work it as an independently system over there, only for quality. Yeah. Frequent meeting and file exchange is required. I think that's no need to explain here, but everywhere I'm able to check what is the status of APQP, the tool is ready or not, the supplier is ready or not, whether your the customer has changed the drawing, so change approval is gone through or not. All these things happen every time, because I don't have any system where I can see and okay, for this part development I need to check with only this 3%, rest of all the team has completed their task. So I don't need to ask 50 people whether you completed your task, because I know only 3 people where the progress is stopped. So I just need to talk with only 3 people. I don't need to talk with everyone. That's possible when I have an overview. Okay, I will show you that as well. So you think of something where you get from the system, you just click for that particular part, particular customer, and get all the update. Where are we standing right now? Which process is completed, which are not completed, if not completed, where is stopping, and so on and so forth. That's possible. Difficult to manage document and confidentiality. This looks very simple, but remember we are living in the era of Android phones, and that's not limited to management and senior management. This is nowadays with even shop floor users and everybody down to the line. Now just imagine your confidential data about cost, supplier, customer goes to somewhere else. Okay, and India is, you know how foundry cluster and next to next foundries are there, where customers are also changing, where your employees are also changing. So what is the importance of this document and confidentiality? That importance should be understood. And that's why I'm saying it looks very simple, but in today's area, this is one of the most priority, should be one of the most priority area. So that's where you should have rights. What document should be able to access by whom? Only those be able to access, not rest of everybody and is taking into paper, drawing and cost and supplier and taking around all the foundry. That is important. Easy to manipulate data in Excel, compromise quality. Yeah, why not? I mean, I am a sand molding guy and I have given the data. Okay, so I know the limits. Okay, so it should be between something like 19.1 and 19.3. That's the limit I know. Now I got the result in my test lab and it says 19.45. Do you expect me really to write in my log sheet 19.45? No, probably not. So that's where he will write down 19.2. And just imagine this whole process. He is writing down today, and after 15 days, probably the management will be discussing what went wrong, and then they will be guessing about different possibilities and maybe some with facts as well, not all hypothetical, also with facts. Now, if that data itself is not was not 19.2, is 19.45, and now you are discussing based on that data considering 19.2. So how relevant is this discussion? Think about this. Not every area is that critical, but wherever this data and wherever the quality parameters are critical, that if leads to this way, in the long term, your root cause and everything may not have the relevance. To find out and make that efforts more realistic and output driven, this exercise could make some sense if you could control that. So you should have some approach where this data cannot be manipulated. The best way is again to get it directly from machine, or let's say nowadays all advanced machines, furnaces, molding, sand preparation, they all have PLC and all the possibilities. Try to collect this data from them. As I said, not overnight whole foundry is giving data. Don't think and start working on that day. Start one-to-one peer, okay? Then it will work. Can't interface machine with Excel. That's true. You cannot interface machine with Excel. So you need somewhere the system, mainly with data interface, where SPC or some kind of modules or real-time data monitoring and actions and notifications and alert system. Now that's where you could change completely from corrective or letter-based correction. You are preventive, because now I have used my artificial intelligence. Listen, every foundry has tons of knowledge about what should is right process to make a sand, what is the right way to make a pour, what is the right way to melt, what is the right way to make grade. All this data is available with every foundry. Even if somebody is making 10 ton a month, 10 ton per month, they have this knowledge. I don't have any doubt. The problem is that that knowledge has been not converted to the artificial intelligence, and then we ask some monitoring system to monitor this upper lower limit, and if something goes out, they alert us. I'm not expecting this from my manpower because of many reasons. That's where you should think that how you could go to the next level where you could collect data from the machine, and if that is out of specification, I get alerts and notification to prevent at that stage. Something wrong in core, stop it there. Something wrong with the mold, stop it there. That should be the long-term approach you should think of. Use for post-mortem or rejection root cause, yes. Rather than here, you could think of quality inspection possible and preventive action. That's what I was just explaining. Continuous change in format, difficult to find, use historical data and improvement happens. You just change the head of your melting department and see how drastically something can change. Because he comes up with his own knowledge and he is not wrong. He has years and years of experience. But that is changing all this time is not good for enterprise. It's good for the team, maybe, but not for your enterprise. So that's why you need a discipline. That's why you need a format, preparation, and maintain this format over the period of time to use this data as a historical. Because your part may be coming again and again for production as well. More discipline in format, easy to find historical data and use them. Now, I'm going to show you the QMS system, which is developed by QDS Solutions in Germany. This is just a small introduction. I'm not going to go into in-depth history and so on and so forth. Just to give you a bright, just a background, that this solution, what I'm going to show you is from this QDS Solutions Germany. And this is since 1967, they are into the quality management system, data acquisition, and much more. In today's life, it's sky open limit. And these are some of the references based on which probably you are aware of most of the names. So it's automotive, tier 1, tier 2, and even foundries are also using many places around the world as well. So let's speak about specifically where are my qualities. What the question I started in the beginning. Let's see where are my qualities or where you should record quality. Okay, so I'm trying to now take you through the journey of your own foundry process, and whatever I'm going to explain from the quality point of view, probably you will realize you are doing every bit of that. I'm not adding any one extra there, or not, nor I would like to access or increase your work, whatever you are doing, but you will say probably we are doing everything here, what I'm just explaining. So what happened that quality starts from where? Let's just understand the whole quality scenario in the closed loop. And the word here, quality control closed loop, means I don't want to untouch any quality area which are linked with somewhere another quality. The meaning of quality control closed loop is I want to connect every dots of my quality that I'm using. So you start with DFMEA. So design document specification you get from customer, based on which you derive the product CTQs. CTQs are critical to qualities, product CTQs. Then you have a scope, submission level, timing for APQP. That's how you make your all the gate plan, time plan, and so on and so forth. Your process flow diagram you will prepare based on that. Your process FMEA you will prepare for that. Yes, yes. If anywhere, Sandeep ji, if you want to stop me and just have any discussion, just keep record on the chat side. I'm not keeping eye on that. So if you want to stop me, just stop me in between so I can stop and discuss any point. Okay, I will give it and hand over this responsibility to Sandeep ji. Okay, so process FMEA, process flow diagram. Then you derive to process CTQs, process work instructions. This is now critical to quality for your processes, right? CTQs. Then your control plans, process inspection instructions, and then now you have combinations of your product CTQs, process CTQs, and other controls, right? So this is where you have derived by doing this journey one by one and all the things you are doing. Then it comes to the MSS studies, your prototypes probably, then your gauge R&R, bias, linearity, stability, and so on and so forth, based on which you have quality assurance, safe launch for quality improvisation loops, and initial samples that you take. Now, based on that, the capabilities, PPAP submissions, then you PSW sign off, where you get order for part submission warrant, and so on and so forth. Now, based on that, the next is from you go to the process quality improvements, where you have the controls over your product CTQs, and that loop is where now in SPC. That means your production started, you are monitoring your process, and then you are taking to the next level. Then your NCR, CIP, continuous improvements, of course, then 80 diagram from the complaints, lesson learned, again back to the square, starting from connecting that. So what you see here, that if my customer complains to me in my foundry, I should have a link to my process flow, control plan, inspection plan, even up to my FMEAs we have defined. Happens. All foundries are, I would say, good in learning. That's my experience in 10 years. Okay. But customers are sometimes smarter than foundry. Sorry, no offense. Okay. What happens, and why I'm saying this, many a times it happens the customer has given you drawing based on which you derived all these things. Later on, customer has changed the drawing, but somewhere in this journey over the 6-8 months, you not realize that our process or tool is correct as per the given first drawing, but it is not correct as per the revised drawing. I don't have documented this process. Now customer blames me that no, your tool is incorrect. See the drawing. You make the inspection drawing tool and say, yes, true, you are right, it's not matching with you. That's where all this thing has a relevance to level up yourself to the customer. So it is good for both of you that you speak the right language with each other, and then these chances, it's not intentional that customer will do that. Okay, maybe unintentional as well, but you should have this process in place to avoid all the circumstances. So this is what I'm explaining right now, is how the quality starts from your drawing, goes up to HD, customer complaint, over the period of product lifecycle management, and so on and so forth. That's a journey that keeps evolving around this circle. Okay. Now, what you see here again in this circle is we have in this quality management system, we have modules. I would not like to really make it a session like every modules and how it works and where to enter data. Just to give you a glimpse how this is linking with your day-to-day processes. The planning area basically is your FMEA, document, PPAP, gauge and tool management. These are all the modules. What you see on the production side, there are various modules like incoming, outgoing inspection, your SPC data collection, non-conformance, and so on and so forth. So these are independent modules, but these modules are linked with each other to achieve this control closed loop of the quality. That is important. Now, here you can see it's link, it's everywhere. Now I'm going to take you to the system, okay? And what I'm taking you is the same journey. You start with development, you have a production, and even you have a post-production. So let's do this a journey, considering that you got a fresh something document from the customer, how you could manage this kind of possibility of your quality management using a quality management system. How you are doing in your foundry, you are aware of that. So I'm not going to that level. I'm possibly showing you alternative way to do it. Not necessary you do it using this module or this software. It could be anything, but you should have some ideas how it can be done. So first of all, the document management is the one possible area. You have all the documents, you have all the drawings and lots of documents. So what you see here is that here in that document management, what kind of document you typically need? You need document from drawings, models, or your internal SOPs, your or let's say as per quality standards, you need to make it. You have your simulation results, you have your let's say SOP for different processes, and that SOP has also a plan like when it should be archived, when it should be expired, who should be able to see it, who should not be able to see it. These are all the things which are relevant for you. What you see here is an example of document management where you can create the library of your own folder, because it's very common. If we have 3% in design, I will write down model of the folder name as CAD. Someone write down 3D model, someone write down folder name as modeling. Everybody writing something different, and you can't control it because it's allowed. So that's why you need a structure. How each is a structure of your folders will look like, right from your management, service, design, production, process, many possible ways. You can define your own way of doing it, or you can follow some of the international standards as well. And then you could see that everybody will follow only that standard, because now I'm not allowed to change the folder name. My CAD data should be on specific folder, not whenever I want I could change or rename it. That's the point. Then you have the various status. This document is in editing mode, under approval, approved, release, or lock, something like that. Lock, you can change it. Release or 4i principle, like layer 1, layer 2 management, senior management can sign it. So you don't need signature. I mean, look how many days you signature in your foundry. Just ask this question to yourself. Okay, how many papers do you sign in your foundry? Simple question, ask to yourself. And I know it's plenty. Okay, so you should think of that where you don't need signature. Yes, I see and read this document. I will check on my system, laptop, because anyway we are going to make Word file or Excel and so on and so forth. I approve it, release it for production and SOP. Job done. You don't need to call meeting. You don't need to write email. No, it can be done here. I can also monitor if I have to monitor, like as a document management, which are document not done, pending, missing the planned date of releasing the document or preparation of the document and so on and so forth, possible. Then the next could be, let's say, development process, where we have PPAP, APQP process and so on and so forth. So let's just go through that one by one. Okay, I'm now taking you through the system as well. So you could probably see inside the system. Okay, I will just connect. Okay, so what you see right now is a quality management system that I wanted to highlight you. And right now we are talking about this area. So you start with APQP, you have the FMEA, control plans, PPAP, process flowchart, so on and so forth. I'm trying to show you one example of Foundry probably. So we have prepared something linked to the Foundry you could see in that area. So here it's just glimpse of document management where you can do the document and handling of that. But let's just move to the quality planning. So we start with, let's say, PPAP. That's where you generally start making documentation is required. So here we have different PPAP, let's say as per QSA, QS or VDA or something like templates are already inside. You could create your own templates as well. So what I'm highlighting here is what can be way you could make PPAP different from what you are already doing in typical way in Excel and everything. So this is where you could see that. Now here is your requirements. So you have front page, your different area, and for every requirement, there are areas where you need to have this process as well. For example, In the type, you can see here there are documents. In the type, there are where you can see the FMEA. In the type where you can see PPAP front page and so on. So now what happens is here when I say FMEA in this particular let's say patterns wise, so here we have in the different levels as well, level 1, 2, 3. You know this level, I don't need to explain what it means, but here you, and the downside you can see which are submitted to customer or retained and available on request and so on and so forth. So these are different levels. Now again, if I go back to this PPAP, any of the PPAP area, I will just open one example. Let's say for this is one part. Now if that is my part, and here you can see my requirements. Now what you see here in the type, there are documents, that means you can upload it, and then there are directly FMEA. So that means I can jump from my PPAP to my FMEA, which is linked with that. Okay, so here you can see that inside the system this FMEA is linked with this PPAP. To take you now back again to the FMEA, just to show you the end picture. That's what I was just showing you, end picture. Now let's just begin. So first of all, you have your own part library where you will require parts. Okay, and there you can create your all the part library or all the parts module. Now I'm talking about this particular part. So if I go to this part, it will show you the history of this part. Okay, so for this part, I have my inspection plan. For this part, I have my image. I can upload it. I can link with the customer who is there, who is my supplier, and so on and so forth for this part, let's say. And then here I can connect with my PPAP inspection plan. If you see the top tabs, where are inspection, PPAP, non-conformance management, FMEA, APQP, all these are linked with my single part. Probably you are doing this into separate Excel files. Okay, here we are doing inside one. And as I said, that's what I was explaining you in the beginning. What I meant by integrated approach is this one. All these processes are linked, which are integrated. Okay, so let's just say begin with APQP for this particular part. Let's say, so in APQP, what you do is you need to make your theme. You need to make your different templates. You know, maybe some customer gives you specific to that customer. Somebody gives you to use QS XYZ standard. You could also use them. It's also available inside. And here you can now make your APQP. So you have your gates, start date, end date, status, which are completed, not completed. What is the schedule of that? Dependencies with different processes. You can have your team from project, from customer. You have your option about start and escalation and notification, where you could say that, okay, if the tool is not ready as per plan, within 2 days, I need SMS or email notification, possible. If that something is not prepared within 1 week, I need escalation, or even with 1 day. Up to you, how you want to escalate, up to you. But that's where you will realize, if you see the time of your management team spends in meeting to review same thing. I'm not saying extraordinary. You just ask and observe your own team. How many hours and hours you spend to get the real picture of development, process development, product development? That's where you invest your time and energy, and that's where you can save it and make more better way of utilizing this energy. Now, if I go to the stage and say, okay, I want to just focus on only those stages which are not complete, let's say, then I can go to the each gate and I can see which are incompleted tasks. For example, here, luckily, our team is very efficient and everything is completed. So I have nothing to do. But if it's not, then I could know whom I need to meet and whom to work. I will need to talk. Here again, you could put specific questions to your team. For example, tool. Let's say here, can we read drawings? Language visibility, some problems happens. Language problem happens. Is product adequately defined to enable feasibility, possible or not? So this is what happens. You are asking now these questions right now to your team. Maybe he needs to or she needs to answer this question after 4 weeks, 6 weeks. But you don't need to remember this after 4 weeks that, I need to check with him about this question, whether he has answered yes or no. So the user, again, the approach is decentralized. Just think your whole Foundry decentralized. And what we are doing here is actually decentralizing whole Foundry. So whosoever is responsible to answer me this question, whether this drawing is visible or readable or not. I want this answer from him, and I want that user log in and answer this. So responsibility is important. This aspect is very important. Responsibility is not with me now, because I have assigned somebody to check drawing, and now responsibility lies with him. Yes, he has read the drawing, is visible, good, and then he's answering, yes sir, it's visible, or yes my colleague, it's visible, I can read the drawing. Fine, I got the data and real-time information is correct, and that person is responsible. Very important. So we are decentralizing this. Okay, important aspect. Okay, then let's say if you want to attach something drawing with that, so you could attach the drawing and you can open this here and we can see this everything. So you don't need to call for this directory, and I don't know, my colleague had put drawing somewhere and I now can't find this drawing. So I have a question, but I can see drawing now. What to do? Here it's mentioned no, where to go is no. So this is about APQP overall. I think you will be able to understand that because you are doing it day in day out. Let's jump next to the FMEA. Okay, so FMEA, again, in that you can prepare your own template. You can use the standard template given, and you could use them as per your requirement, right? So now if I go to this, let's say just FMEA side, then I will show you one of the example of Foundry, which we have prepared for you to understand from the Foundry point of view, specifically for molding and melting probably. So these are the areas what we will see how your FMEA may you can create inside. Let's make FMEA, and then we go to the FMEA structure. You can see inside that different templates are there, but let's jump to the first FMEA. Again, you can create templates, friend, its version, revision, all these things, possibilities inside. And here you can see, let's say I have a FMEA for just an example. Data could be as per different requirements. So what are the casting, casting thin section not filled with metal? What is potential root cause, prevention, detection, and so on and so forth. So here it is now RPN, but of course after AIAG, it will be changed to otherwise as well. And then you can see for code box, and there could be seen for die design and so on and so forth. So here you can create these things directly into the system. As I said, you don't need to create and maintain this in Excel file. And the best part is here now the responsibility is my system. So I can ask my system, how many times we have changed FMEA? You will say 3 times. Why? So you will note why. He will tell me exactly what happens to this FMEA and who has changed it, why it has changed, so on and so forth. That is possible because we are working with system, of course, the reason for that. And that's where this, I said, quality management system works. So let's say these are different for machining. It could be a different FMEAs, master FMEA, then sub FMEA it could be, and then you can change the revision number, its critical number, and so on and so forth. It can be changed as well. Okay, so this is, let's say, for next one, we go to the FMEA is there. Okay, then we just go to the next level where we can say control plans. We can make some control plans as well. So here we can have a control plan for different processes and different area you do anyway. So this is where you could maintain your all the control plans, and that control plan will be also of record later on. What happens to this control plan with respect to plan and actual? Because there is no point to plan if we are not going to compare with actual. So that's why it is important every time we talk about plan and actual in quality as well. Let's say we take one example for sand preparation. So here you can see that in this control plan, if you see on the left hand side, there is a FMEA. So which indicates that this control plan is linked with FMEA as well. Okay. And now I am in this project, so we can make project teams, we can have a connection with parts, again FMEA, which are linked with that, various images and actions, so on and so forth, and of course history of that will be seen. Now what you see in the down step, in the down level, where we have prepared for sand preparation, molding sand. Okay, so what we need in this different characteristics for molding sand preparations. And inside that characteristics, you can say whether it's a manual, how you will be collected, what are the details we can go inside as well. Now, if you go to the characteristics, where you will define for every processes your data. Okay, whether any gauge is required or not, whether upper lower timid, whether data will be collected directly from a PLC or not, so and so forth. So this is what all these things, test frequency, control method, reaction method, this is documented. Now, even if my sand monitoring plan, I have automatic plan or manual plan, and if that fellow changes the job, I'm not that much worried because I have already specified for this A part what is the way to make the sand, what are the sand parameter will be required is already documented. So that means upper level limit and the best result I have received from my foundry is already recorded. So if the person A is a sand control plant or B is controlling or first shift or second shift, I don't need to worry because ultimately he has to follow this parameter and I am asking my machine whether these parameters are followed or not. Are you getting my point? So this is the way you should think, starting collecting your knowledge, converting into the artificial intelligence. And here you can see, you can say whether it's a prototype or pre-series or series, you can differentiate them. Okay. And then for each of this area later on, you could also make a data entry and see what is actual result you have got against this. Okay, so this is where you can see different processes. I will just explain on this side. I will just show you one process flow chart as well, where you can create your own process flow. You can change the state. What you see on the top side here is probably where you can see the different state can be also changed. So what you see here is you can create the different areas, and you can create different shapes of transport or stock or in or out. It's up to you. You can create, you can connect them, and you can use them, right? So this is how the complete process flow diagram can be also linked and connected as well. So this is just for an example. Okay, can leave it out then. Okay, what you see here is particularly, I just missed one part here. If we go back to FMEA, and if we just, so you can see here on the state, so you can make different state and you can say it is release or editing or lock, this kind of state, and accordingly it changes in the background as well, and it makes history of that and records history as well. That's same for APQP, that same way for different areas, tool and gauge management, make decision, and so on and so forth. So this is what I wanted to give you an overview of the process, right from APQP to PPAP to inspection plan, non-conformance, how these are linked. Okay, but specifically at the development stage, you are doing APQP, FMEA, process flow chart, control plan, and PPAP. That's what I wanted to highlight you here. So I think up to PPAP we have just covered up. Now again I will go back to the next stage and then we take it forward. Okay, so here you can see the state as well, and here you can see the history and version. Like if I don't want to give new version, possible, or if you want to give new version, it will give you the new version. For example, I will say yes, create a new version, and then you could see the now version and FMEA will be updated, and the next version will be also shown here as well. Yeah, now you can see the chain level is become 4, it was 3. Okay, so this was about the initial stage I wanted to highlight you. Let's go back to the next level. So what we have seen so far is this one area. Now let's just I will just keep the slides because I have already shown you in the you can also make the Gantt chart as well, which I just skip here, but I will not go and repeat this again in the slides. So let's just go to the tool and gauge management directly. Of course, you can attach some pictures and images as well. Okay, now just again in the tool and gauge management, what you see here is in the tool and gauge management, here we have the tools for different years, the start date, end date, and you need to maintain all this data. Okay, so that's again where tool is also one of the costly area. Okay, it looks like not, but you invest lots of money in tool. And doing the maintenance of this tool in terms of its calibration, end dates, customer needs to know, calibration report, and so on and so forth, it's also a hectic task. So what you could do is here all this tool and gauge management can be divided into different labels of the month wise or the new tool and so on and so forth. You can do different colors, as I said, and then based on that you have all the history of your gauges, your location, where these gauges are right now, which are the family of the gauges, then service interval or supplier or history. All these things can be managed here, which you are doing probably in some accelerator form. Okay, as I said, we are talking about future. So what you are doing right now is fine. Where you could go to the next, that's where you could probably get a hint. Here now for the calibration for inspection plan, there could be also inspection plan for calibration of your tools. So the same system, QMS, you could make inspection plan for your own gauges as per interval required. And then you can see on the top side here the calibration given. So when you do the calibration, you can see that based on this calibration, you could record when you did do, and then when you inspect that repeatability, gauge R&R, and so on and so forth, then you can make decision that yes, this tool is approved, not approved, rejected, whatever it is. Then you could even do make decision. So you don't need to sign. Why you would sign that yes, I approve this tool? System knows you are the head of the tool and gauge department. You log in and you approve it. Fine, that's enough for me. We can make documentation, print out it if customer requires, not for you. If customer requires, and that's where you can make it. Fine. But that's what you could do, make decision as well. You have your own certifications for various gauges and calibration and so on and so forth can be stored and attached as well. If it is from NABL or XYZ outside, you could also work with them. Then you have the different areas for let's say again the photographs or image can be also processed here. Documentation or videos can be uploaded. Then certification is that if that fails, I need to get notification about my failed calibration, or MSS studies can be also recorded, and so on and so forth. So this is what I have just mostly covered from the point of view of development. Of course, tool and gauge will again plays a role in production as well. But I'm just trying to highlight you and give you an overview where you could understand that even in that level, you could use them in the later stage in production. So in production, let's say the inspection plan and incoming outgoing inspection. Now, that is where you are making the inspection plan for different processes, right? Right from your incoming supplier inspection, you have in-house incoming inspection for your processes, and of course outgoing inspection plan. So all this area you are managing incoming inspection. Now this is the area probably where you all are using lots of data. You are generating daily lots of data, but are you able to use it for your own purpose? Forget for half an hour customer. For your own benefit, is it helping you or not? Just keep this question in mind. So let's just see regarding this inspection and incoming outgoing inspection. I will just say where the inspection plan could work is again for SPC, incoming, outgoing, GDN2, all this area you need to work with the inspection plan. And here you can make different inspection plan, maybe dynamic or otherwise for lot size. If that lot size, how you will, let's say upper lower limit, or what is the lot, skip lot, and so on and so forth. Then for that particularly, what are the fixed percentage wise, or what way you want to inspect the incoming or outgoing inspection that you can prepare. So this is a complete flexibility, whether you want for incoming supplier inspection or outgoing, how you want to inspect them. Okay, you can make your own way of doing that. And based on that, you could do supplier evaluation. Now that's very important. You may be doing business worth of crores and crores of rupees of supplier. Okay, just imagine a scenario that you are doing procuring part from 2 suppliers, or let's say 3 suppliers. One is your local supplier just next to you in your city, and you always prefer them because cost, because delivery time is fast, or maybe delivery time is still not fast, but still you just propose you go with them as a priority one. Now just imagine that instead of that, if you procure a supplier, material from supplier which is in your neighboring state or anywhere else in the India or outside, which is costly, and he gives or she gives time delivery on time, and he also or she also shares their quality data as well. The reason is that when you use the materials from supplier A, it has an impact on your finished good. You get it at a lower price or even higher price, but that has impact on your finished good quality, or more some process time required, XYZ. So if you have facts and data, then it is possible that your purchase guy will make some wise decision. If it has to decide by just guts feeling, probably maybe not right. So that's why this is also very important aspect where you evaluate your supplier based on facts, not just based on my guts feeling or relationship, or just sitting next to me. Sitting next to me giving poor quality is more worse than procuring from next day. So that's very important. Now let's go into the process, real process, where you are doing daily production, casting right from morning till evening and 24/7. So what are the data you procure in this area, and how you could utilize this data if you are using with some approach of integrated approach. So let's just go back to the software and just give you how this can work inside the system. So what you see here is particularly we will be working with this area. Now imagine your production has started. Okay, so you have submitted the PPAP, customer has approved it, you got the production order, and now you are making casting parts. So what you do is you are making different process, operation 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You have all the process control, you have all the inspection plan, everything is there. And even you are monitoring this quality right now on paper and Excel, no doubt about that. It's in place in 99% foundries. Okay, so now what here difference is that, let's say for this particular part, now I have my process, sand preparation and melting, and in that process I have specified which are the mandatory options. Just one step back, if we can go process. So here you can see the process, which are my targets, what are my actives. This process is active for this part, that's what it means. Then we have the mandatory, whether I want to print it or not, what type of machine I will use for this process, what is the subsequent process linked with that, what are the key field, whether I want 100% inspection or and user log. User log is where I don't want my user to know the values. You remember my case where I was maintaining the sand of core and I find out 19.45 and I enter 19.2. Why? Because I was knowing the limit. Just imagine I am the shop floor guy and I have no clue what should be my sand minimum and maximum value. In that case, I would have entered 19.45 because I don't know whether it's pass or fail for the record purpose. In the background, in the dashboard, this shop floor or the core department head knows it has failed and he will not allow it to go to the mold. But for that user, I don't want him or her to know whether this is within my limits or not. So that's where you can make a difference to make it real time, and then you could see that what is plays a role. So let's say this is my part. Okay, I have my process flow, I have my part of the details and so on and so forth. Now I will go to the one particular area of the sand. So I have defined my dead clay, permeability, moisture, compatibility, all this characteristic. Everybody records that, right? I'm not saying anything new in that. So here you have upper lower limit. And again, there are target values, and if it fails, then what could be the probably root cause, action, and so on and so forth. All these things are chain value you can define, for example. Now let's say you can also apply formula. If I want to take average, not every time exact that value, but just take 3 times sample of this sand and I will take average of that. Possible. We can apply formulas as well. So I'm just giving you possibilities what you could do here. Okay, not necessary to do all these things. Now let's say we go to the next process, which is let's say the controls. Inside that you can define the limits and so on and so forth. Now I will show you one practical example of that. What happened to the data. Let's say now we have this defined and we enter this data as I am one of the user. I am one of the manager where I want to see my data of over the last 1 week. So what I want to see is I find out something rejections in my process. Now I want to see particularly in sand preparation, what was there any wrong happened in the sand process over the, let's say, just 1 week, just for my understanding. So here I can enter values, and if it is within limit or not, then it will pass or fail, and it can show red or green. As I said, it is possible to highlight or hide this so user does not see red and green, because otherwise ultimately I can also do the same thing. Okay, if it fails, system will ask you root cause. Now that's what we were talking about, preventive. Something went wrong, and now he has to mention that if moisture is going out of spec, what could be possible root cause. Now I know today, if you ask me, I could probably give you the reason what was the root cause. But imagine you are asking me this question after 3 weeks about this moisture failure. What answer do you expect from me after 3 weeks about this question? Think of that. Okay, then we can make a root cause action plan, and then you can save it. Now again, this action plan is also possible that we can assign the corresponding timeline, the concerned person, everything. Why, by which time this action could be taken place if there is needs to be taken. And you can see accordingly these graphs are moving. Now we are doing is manual entries, but imagine if this data we are collecting directly from the sand testing machine of your high pressure molding line or otherwise, then you don't need to see this data will come automatically red, green, and then that batch means is failed, and you will not use that batch for your molding. Are you getting my point? So here, this data not necessary to be manually entered. It could come from the system as well. And then if it is from the system, then user has to just give the possible root cause and action in this case. Okay. Now the next is like once process is done, so we are into next process. So now we are measuring the tapping temperature in the melting, and by doing this entry, it will highlight where we are right now. So once both these processes are done, that means every process data is recording from mold to furnace to so on and so forth. And you can enter your own fields, whatever you want and whatever you require. Now let's go back to the data of the overview where I want to see reports. If something went wrong, where could I see that? So we are monitoring the data of, let's say, I don't know, last few weeks or something. And then we just see what's happened to my tapping temperature and my sand data, okay, over the period of last 2 weeks. Okay, so this is, let's say I'm today, okay, so it's today's date, and I can see, oh, something went wrong with today as well. Okay, let's see, I want to see what's wrong in that. So I'm going to the part in that case. Yeah, this is my inspection plan for this foundry. Then I'm into the sand preparation. Then the next is my melting process. Something went. So now you can see the melt wise okay, but there was something wrong in sand. Again, the idea is you should not allow it up to melt theoretically or practically. I'm just giving you the visualization. That's why I'm using this example. And then I can see, okay, in that what went wrong, and I can go to that level. And here you can see if it goes out of spec, it is also showing you CPCPK or Six Sigma. All this data will come on its own. And there are possibilities. You can have two different forms, like you can prepare your own histogram. You can see the bar chart or trends. You can see the different ways of distribution. You can see as I say, whisker and so on and so forth. So this is all possible ways you could utilize. Again, idea is now you know what went wrong, and if it went wrong, what we need to do. Next time, this artificial intelligence should go to the next level. If something goes wrong, send me the email, send me the SMS, stop the machine. So many ways possible, right? So this is where you can see an overview of all the data and characteristics, particularly for that process. Okay, so this is where you could see the different areas where you could see your process data has make sense in the background, and then you could connect with that in any area with machine or any way you could be also taking or giving back to me as well. So that's about reports. Let's just go into that. And then in the inspection plan, if we see here, probably what you see in the inspection plan as well, where your every area you could have possibilities for interface for your SPC. As I was saying, every owner is now asking your machine can give me data or not. Yes, it can give. So here what you need to understand is that in that case, this way where you could interface directly with your machine, and you could take data from the machine in different data formats, let's say this way. There are many possibilities. Okay, so this is what I want to highlight on this area. You could also include the cost in other areas as well. This is what your daily data monitoring, and it has a relevance to that. Okay, then you should see the quality trendings. You can see various trends in that, and it can give you the data of your trends for particular characteristics what you want to see. And then you can see now we are linking my order, my part with my process. Okay, so my order, customer order has a link with my process, the process characteristics is a link with my result of that, and then it gives me the data over the period of time, whatever you want, specifically to upper lower limit or over the period of time, and so on and so forth. This all things you can save it in the PDF or Excel for. So ideas, again, what you should understand here is where the future is. Not necessarily you will adopt this today or tomorrow, no, but you should see the relevance of the data that you are already doing right now, whether you use it or not. But this has an importance, and that you should maintain this data in your own way to utilize it for the future, right? So you can see different major failure. What are the major failures over the period of time I would like to see over that, and then we can play different graphs and different see and the role of that over the period of time. So now you can see the combination of that. because sometimes it may happen this one parameter is right, but another properties are playing more influence on the rejection. So it could be possible that you could see a combination of this data and decide what was the real combination or what was the real root cause of that. So that is where you need, because it's in Foundry, it's not that straightforward. I know that. So that's where the combination and combination of these properties you could see and see which one is really affecting. So you can make your according to your control plans or action plans to overcome that one. Okay. So this is what I want to highlight here in the SPC, CPCPK and otherwise for particular different areas for the areas of that. Then you can, of course, it's possible to prepare different Paretos, the graphs and graphical format. You could see different results as well for characteristic. Now, these things you are already doing in graph. Okay, so I'm not saying it's new. The idea is here, once the data is collected from the machine or from the shop floor guy, even if it's a manual entry, the rest of the things are already done. Your Pareto, your defects, and all these things are already prepared. You don't need to take it from log sheet or Excel to another Excel and need 3-4 people in this loop to get the ultimate output of that. Yeah. Okay, so let's just go back to the system. I will just go to the next points. I will also highlight a couple of slides here on this aspect for the SPC, just to give you a little bit more insight of the possibilities. Area where you can interface like with any system. So you should think and ask these questions in the existing infrastructure. Now there are two aspects. Maybe in some of the infrastructure you have which has PLC SCADA, and maybe some of the infrastructure you have where you can additionally attach PLC SCADA system, even if it is not bought PLC SCADA system. So this is very important, that if you really think and moving in this direction, it is possible that you could attach external sensors, PLC, SCADA, and many ways possibility to extract data, even if it is not inbuilt given because you have purchased before 10 years. So that is also possible way. Okay. So what you need to think is this link, how it works. First of all, data collection, type of machine, controller, filer, file type, input output method, that needs to be understood. If that is known, the data import, that means this data is collected in which format import, via interface, manually, via server, normal CSV file, many points. And then you take it to the output to the QDA where your report, graph, CPCPK will come. So this is a journey. You start from here and study existing infrastructure, then you take it to the here. So you should flow this map, I would say. Then based on that, it gives you the different Pareto or Pareto by root cause, Pareto by actions, and so on and so forth. This is what you get as a byproduct, because you are now seeing this data and seeing this example, what I have just shown you. So you can perform all this exercise on your own, and you get this data automatically by saving time. Again, the ultimate goal is preventive control. Stop it where you find wrong data, stop it. Let not move it to the next level. That's the ultimate goal. Again, this is just what I was just going to highlight on this case. Now I will just go, take you through next post-production area as well. What I have just taken up to the journey of production. Little text to the journey of NCM, and then next thing. So now your customer complaints. So what you need to do is whether it's internal customer complaint, a supplier complaints, or customer complaint. Again, each of this will be recorded, and for each of that there will be different procedures like action plan, CAPA, audit process, whatever is required, 8D, everything can be done here. So this is where a scenario where you could do complete NCM in sync with that, and where you can see the define the complaint, the action plan, the responsible person, the timeline, department, you know, the, let's say, plan, target, and completed areas as well. Again, you can make decision here, findings, the fact findings, the videos, the attachment, anything can be also linked with that. So you could do that. For example, yeah, like you get the ID report from the system, your failed part, overall analysis, where are failed, then you know, this root cause analysis, then you have the your different customer wise report, the failure group, what are the major failure reasons. And then the action management is where you could see all the email functionality, part history, 8D reports, and all these things. The more about now the time and phase where you need some information, something goes wrong, okay, I got info, so I can take action. That's where this action management and all these things will come into picture in future everywhere, where everybody wants, okay, if something goes wrong, alert me, I will act. And if I fail to act, yes, I'm responsible. That's where the trends is going, and that's why you need to move step by step as well, right? So small tips here. Start now, don't wait till you construct digital tower. Digital tower is what? A construction of a building, 50, 20 screens are there. I will be sitting and I will be monitoring this. That's what I call digital tower. I will wait. Once I will make this digital tower, then only I will start acting. That will not help you, okay? So what you need is start slowly, one by one area. Start now. Don't wait till you're constructing the digital tower. What I meant by is, whatever the area where your major concerns of the quality, start monitoring those areas. Not need to have complete digital foundry and complete automatic data collection. That's not required. You can start with any area which makes sense for you, which causes you from cost point of view or rejection point of view, okay? Right? So that's where you need to work upon that. Then avoid, get experience with internal data collection to try with your before jumping to QMS system. Means you try your own internal data collection process, maybe manually, maybe automatic. Just try to play with it. Not necessarily you develop solution overnight, or not necessarily you link with everything, but try something hands-on, because when you will go to the QMS, you should be able to understand the system, its integration. It's not independent island solution. So there you need an integration of your different departments. That's why you need to change mindset and ask them all to raise to the occasion and talk to each other, integrate. So that's where I'm saying play with it internally first before you really go and decide to quality management system. Play with that internal department and information. Avoid multiple interface, less headache. That's absolutely major reason why many a times, even after investing, company will just lose the hope. So many things to interface. I need interface with my CMM. I need interface with my temperature for my furnace. I need interface with my molding. I need interface with this and that. So many things, because nowadays every OEM gives cloud solution and we buy it even by paying it. But ultimately what happens, all this data going on cloud, and you need to take and discuss or action the data with 4, 5, 6 clouds. That's where the problem starts. So that's why I was saying that focus on major interface capabilities with PLM, ERP, QMS, CAD, GAM, and you should try to avoid cloud and ask them to bring this data somewhere to your server. I know this statement goes against the trends where everybody is talking about clouds. I don't mind to go to the clouds. If I want one machinery and just wanted to observe this machinery, it's perfect. But if I have to interface tomorrow this machine data which is on cloud with another cloud, with another cloud, with server, without cloud, that's where you will start. So that's where your approach and long-term vision should be there. Which data will come from where and where it will go. Whether it will come from direct land data, whether it will come from machine, whether it will come from cloud, whatever is the case, but make sure you are clear about that. Okay. Insist on data collection at server instead of independent cloud solution from each OEM. As I said, yes, it's good. Everybody is giving solution because they think you need only to monitor this data, but that's not fact. For Foundry, that's one part of data. It's not whole part of data. So OEM are right in their place, but at the enterprise level, that could create complexity for you. So just keep in mind this one. Okay, this is what overall I have given you an insight of a quality management system where I say what the way you are doing right now probably is a non-integrated approach, and what could be the future of that. Does not mean again that tomorrow onward you will start using quality management system. Keep your mind open, keep your goal clear, keep your vision clear, where you want to land in next 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, and so on and so forth. That is what most important thing, because in many cases they jump into the water. It is sometimes good to learn, but it could be costly affair as well. So that's why you don't jump, but think of every piece and bit of infrastructure and data available in your Foundry, how you will connect them. Think in that direction. That is what I want to rather emphasize on this. But you know what type of system is there, what type of quality management system available in the market, how it works, what way it is connected or integrated in the background. Probably that you get first insight in this session as well. So these are the two aspects I wanted to highlight here. And I would be open to any questions. If I need to go to any slides back or into the software anywhere, I'm open to that. So I've given enough time. So everybody, please ask questions. That would be very good. And I know that we can have a more exchange of ideas. Sandeep ji, you can moderate probably. That would be great.
Yes. Any questions? Please raise your hand or put it on chat box.
Already in chat box, then let me check some of the questions in chat box. I can open that. Okay, so I will go one by one. Mr. Paresh is asking about one slide. Can you allow him to unmute?
Paresh, okay.
Also, some has also raised hand. So Sandeep ji, please unmute all of them one by one who has raised hand as well.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Ramurthy.
Sir, lesson learning. I want to know the lesson learning.
Yes, sir, please.
It is very good subject. I want to know the lesson learning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, your question, sir.
Sir, question is lesson learning. How we want to go with lesson learning? How we want to convey to the customer. If any customer is asking lesson learning, so a few things are there in confidential and everything is there. How we will convey to the customer and how we will make.
So if I understand your if I understand your question correctly, your question is
Yeah.
how we can communicate with customer in order to ensure that the customer quality data we record rightly and we deliver rightly. Is it correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So it depends on whether you have Excel formats, whether you have some systems to play a role, whether you are making your own formats, and so on and so forth. Everything is possible. Depends on what you are doing right now, what are the problem you are facing in that stage, then you can find the right solution. So in your case, because I'm not aware of your system, but in general with any foundry, customer gives you some drawing. Based on that, ask you to prepare some documents. You will So in this case, there is a journey. And the important thing is you document what customer is asking and what you are delivering. That's the basic way to avoid any miscommunication or missing information. So if you are systematically document what customer is asking and what you are delivering, if that is actually meeting, probably that will solve the problem. But the way the compliances are getting complicated, whether it is AIAG, QS, IATF, and so on and so forth, the complexity is likely to go further increase, and that derives in the direction that in the short or long term, ultimately it will require some system, because as a human being, we have reached our limitations. I need to discuss with my 20% in 8 departments, and I am not able to recall tomorrow whether I have already spoken with him or I have still what tasks are pending. That's beyond human limitation, because the requirement of customer is large. So you can make something your own as well. If it works for you, perfectly fine. If not, you could create your own internal way of handling it, or you could systematically, step by step, go towards some quality management system which could help you to record this rightly. But if you can give me any instances, what exactly you are facing issue while talking to customer or maintaining with customer, then probably I can give you some specific to that as well.
Okay, Paresh, you're unmuted now. Please go ahead. Yeah.
मला दुसरं काही नको होतं. त्यांनी मध्ये एक स्लाइड दाखवली ना, त्याच्यामध्ये कंपन्यांच्या नावाच्या अगोदरची जी स्लाइड होती ना
Okay.
ती मला बघायची होती जरा.
Which one?
प्रेझेंटेशन मध्ये सुरुवातीला एकदम स्टार्टिंगला ती कंपनीची नाव आली होती बघा. लोगोस कंपनीचे लोगो आले होते.
Okay.
त्याच्या अगोदरची स्लाइड मी वाचत होतो तेवढ्यात ती निघून गेली.
Okay. Bhushan, can you show it?
You mean to say customer reference?
ये वो फोर्ड वो सब लिखा है ना उसके ऊपर वाला स्लाइड.
Okay, yeah. This is about history of this QDS Solutions, which is a German-based company, and they have started since 1967 in this journey. They are very into collaboration with hardware as well. So like different type of torque and wrenches available, which can verniers with Bluetooth and USB nowadays, which can be directly even give connection to the QMS system as well. So they have a journey of software and hardware over the period of, I would say, last 50 years or plus.
Okay. That's what I was trying to read it, but
Yes.
before
Sorry about
completing the
that.
thing, it was misspelling.
Sorry about that.
No problem. That's why.
Any next question?
Excellent presentation. It was very helpful.
Thank you, sir.
Bhushan, I have one question.
Please.
Yeah. This QMS with what you have shown the overall review. In that, is it linked with the sales and PPC and everything, or it is a separate and our regular ERP for the, we can say, material calculation and material handling is different?
This is what I have just tried to explain here. I will just repeat this. See, you have activities in your area of different level. At design and development level, you are CAD, CAM, and CA activities that you are doing for drafting, designing, simulation, machining, programming, and so on and so forth. The next comes as a production. Now in production, you need to have all the admin area. That means your sales, purchase, inventories, GRN, all these things you are doing, right? The problem is here, this quality data is missing in this complete blocks. That's why this QMS is actually across this platform link. Yes, because in QMS I am maintaining the document of your drawings. In the QMS I am making the SOP. In the QMS I am maintaining the SOP. In the QMS I am maintaining for your ERP which order, which customer, and in that order what was the process, what were the process parameter has taken place, which you are not able to maintain ERP. But I don't need specifically bill of material. I don't need bill of material. So that's not required where I collect data from ERP. Okay. I don't need whether, let's say, invoice is made or not. That's not required for my point of view. In QMS point of view, I would say.
So you mean to say it will not replace ERP? It will be a supporting hand to ERP, isn't it?
Correct. It is a supporting hand to ERP because
that is what I just want to understand.
Yes. And certainly it is required supporting hand, because when customer will ask you data that, okay, this was a rejection, show me what was your process parameter on that day. Now, if that process parameter is not in your ERP, you will ultimately go back to the Excel and file and log sheets. That's what the problem is. And that's where this QMS needs to be linked with that.
Okay. Rajesh, you have a question?
Yeah. Sir, just in line with your question only, some parameters will be there which are connected to QA also, like pattern life monitoring,
tool life,
layout inspection report, which needs to be collected with APQP and all. Hello, how that will be linked then?
Okay, so regarding this, let's say tool life. So tool life, you can say that we are not getting data of production, like how many parts produced today. But what we are making here is we can make inspection plan for the tool, that you need to inspect the tool or check the tool parameter after 50,000 shot, for example. Okay, 5,000 shot. Now, when this 5,000 shot happens, the QMS does not know that 5,000 parts are produced. So that is for the notification for the quality department, who is in sync with ERP, and they know whether the 5,000 reach or not, right? So that is possible in this aspect, where you can set the tool life and make a quality plan that if that tool life is 5,000 arrived, you need to take out the tool, you need to inspect the scan, you need to compare with the master CAD and check whether it's in and out, or maybe you need to take 2 samples and do 100% inspection of every dimension, whatever is the case. So that is where you are making a plan that what action needs to be taken if this tool life is reached or when this tool is expired. Let's say you know that the production of tool is life is 5,000, or it is the tool, it will take 6 months, for example. So I can make this tool with a life of 6 months. After 6 months, I can get notification this tool is expired. Of course, then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can check whether it has reached 5,000 or not, and if you want to elaborate or extend for another 1 month, possible. But that's notification I can give you with the time wise, but not, I don't have real time data of production like how many casting parts are produced. So my tool life is getting reduction on automatically.
No, even if it is not connected with the ERP monthly, if I enter productions and all, then it can give alarm for me. That is possible. No?
That is possible. Yes, in that way, if you are manually entering somewhere data, it's possible. Yes, like if you take every month, end of the month.
Okay, okay. And what about supplier monitoring and also supplier quality monitoring and all?
Supply rating. You can.
For supplier, again, we have to make inspection plan for every item, or it could be for part, or it could be purchase item, anything. Like you are giving part outside for machining, and then he is going to machine and give you back part. We can make inspection plan for this incoming goods as a casting part incoming, as well as you can make an incoming inspection plans for procurement parts like scrap, raw material, sleeves, XYZ.
Okay.
So every time when my casting part will come after machining, this parameter will be checked in-house as well. I mean, right now probably you are relying on them that he's checked the plug gauge or diameter, everything is checked, he has bring the report, so we accept the part. However, if you want, and if your quality lab is equipped to ensure 100% reliability of your own data, it could be also possible that you just receive the machining part, you in-house check this parameter, maybe sampling 100 to 1 or 100%, whatever is the case, and then only you accept this part in-house. Till the time, you will not accept incoming goods. Because if he or she is taking data of their quality at their supplier end, of the machining end, you will not be able to connect it with the root cause. If tomorrow some compliances or complaints come from the customer, you have to physically now collect this report from the supplier. Again, filing will work. So either you collect the filing and enter the data into the system, or you don't ask them to inspect, you yourself inspect, and if it is not okay, you give them part back. Whatever is convenient, that could be the possible way.
In chat box, there is one question. Tool management for conventional machine is not too easy in my case. Can you please make me understand again for it, or explain something in detail about this slide on tool management?
Okay. Here, when we say tool and gauge management, if I just take you to the system as well. See, here you can see the different modules. Here you can see. So this is in the tool and gauge. Labels means, I'm just trying to give you one more round of insight. What we mean here, tool and gauge management, is all your tools which are and gauges which are inside your foundry. You have all the vernier calipers, project profilers, or XYZ plug gauges, whatever you are using. Okay. Now, for all this tool and gauges, you need to maintain the details. Where are the tools? Belongs to which tool group family? When is the expiry date? Who is the supplier? Who is the admin of that? And the right location right now where it is. Because it happens many a times, probably with vernier is the easiest case, that when you ask where is this vernier caliper, and it will take certain time to find out. Somebody will say machining guy took it. He said foundry guy took it. Somebody came and took it. I don't know, supplier was there. He took it along, for example, for some measurement, and never give me back. Happens. So this kind of things happens. Okay. And I agree with you, in certain case to maintain is difficult. But why you need to move in this direction is because there will be more compliances with respect to calibration, is possibility how you have calibrated. Show me the calibration report, NABL report or in-house report. If in-house, who has done it, how many time done it, like 3% will check it and then only it is pass or fail will decide, and so on and so forth. So these are many things, and these are not that easy straightforward data. It requires lots of documentation process. That's where you can see this area where you can see calibration responsibility, last date when it was updated, whether it is a sealed or unsealed, it is in use or not. All these things are maintained here, because if somebody is having a sealed tool which is not used, so it's like it's not in the case where your expiry date will start. For example, they say once we start using the tool, then only we can take it to the next level or define the its expiry date and so on and so forth. So even those things are also in place. Okay, then somebody as a head of the department want to plan their calibration for next 1 month or no. So I should know first of all what are the tool and gauges are going to expire next month. Then I can plan it. Which are going to scrap, so I need to purchase it. Now that's where all the department are working in sync, because your purchase department should know what tool or gauge he needs to buy, and you should also inform him timely. That's where the mostly problem starts. You can say, I don't know, purchase department, nobody give me the requisition, so why should I know? All this thing. So this is all where we can integrate. Again, the approach is integration, and the idea is your every tool and gauge has a history. Your it is specifically, you can say, for example, in many cases, customer says that for this part you will use particular this gauge to check the quality. Possible. So you are also specifying this, and if that tool and gauge has also some cost, I mean, customer can say anything. He can say you could do 100% CMM inspection. Fine, I can do it, but there is a cost behind that. So where you can say that yes, it is possible, we can use it, this plug and gauge, but there is some extra cost for that. When you can say this, because you have now history, what is the cost to maintain that tool for you? Are you getting my point? So even that is considered here in this case. Or you could send some reminder ultimately, like I want to send reminder before 30 days or before 1 month, 2 months, then you can get this indication as well. So this is where you can get all the settings, how to manage your tool and gauge. Are you following me? Is it in the right direction, addressing your question?
He's muted, I think.
Okay, I think in chat it is mentioned. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Here you can see you can start calibration as well for that particular part or define, and then you can say, okay, for this I have to do visual inspection. You just enter the data and the visual inspection is completed. So the calibration report say yes or no, go or no go, allowed or not. You can like do that way. Yeah? So you are making your own way of calibration inside, just like you are giving outside, and then you can make a decision whether you want to accept this or reject this particular tool. You could make decision as well. Okay. That rework, maybe do some maintenance of this tool, then only we will use it and something like that. Possible.
Okay, chat box he typed here. Okay, he got the answer and is happy with that. Sure. Okay, Bhushan, thank you very much for your presentation, and very nice presentation as well. Nicely explained.
Thank you.
And thank you very much again for supporting Dynamic Foundry Group for another webinar.
My pleasure. Wish you all the best for future webinar. And anytime anyone has contact details, if you want any further details.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Feel free to contact us anytime.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good
Thanks
night.
all participants and for your patience. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good night.